Good. So welcome everyone again to another one of our monthly My Speaker Business community calls. And I know the times have never been better to be a speaker and never been more challenging to be a speaker, because most of our speaking is happening online right now. And no matter how we speak, again, we speak and bring our message out in the greatest way. And every month we are getting together, and you get every single time really top hands-on tips from our guest experts that you can apply right away. And also, just please, everyone that is with us, mute yourself so we have a sparkling recording eventually. Okay, so, and these calls are also really there for you to connect with one of our previous guests and really to ask your own personal questions on how to make your speaking business flourish further. And also, it's your space to exchange with other great speakers and get help and support from others. For any one of your high priority projects, you can share them with us as well. And really, I know we often have people from the US, even though for our East Side friends, it's actually pretty early in the morning. For some of you, it's breakfast time. For some of you, it's dinner time. For most of us here in Europe, it's lunchtime. So you're here to just have simply be with us, take a break, and just have fun with us while you're being inspired and you get amazing hints and tips. So as I said, this is your call. We're going to make it interactive. So if any questions come up on your side, please ask them right away. Yes, Shelley, is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Perfect. So ask them right away. And also I keep an eye out on the chat. So please just put them into the chat. And, again, you will be visible. If you speak up, we will see you, but I'm your speaker. You should love to be on video. And also, again, as I said, when you're not speaking, please make sure you mute yourself so we have a sparkling recording, because I know you and a lot of others will want to watch this again, because it will be really a firework of insights and everything else. So what are we talking about today? We speak about remote speaking power, how to best we speak about today about how to really use LinkedIn in the most powerful ways, right? So our topic today is really, how do you gain credibility as a speaker? How do you use LinkedIn specifically to gain international speaking gigs and in other ways for your amazing speaking business? And I know that every speaker today asks the question, how can I quickly gain credibility as a speaker and really get these sought after speaking opportunities when no one knows about me so much yet? And I know you are all on stage, so some of you have seen you and rave about you and want to have you back on stage. And there's so many more stages that you want to speak on. And the question is, how do you get booked there? And there is something that you can do right away that increases your credibility, your visibility, your connection, even with influencers, and that secret is called LinkedIn. And I'm sure you all are on LinkedIn already. Well, today we have an incredible guest with us, and she's one of the UK's leading digital marketing experts focused on LinkedIn especially. And she has really founded a business called the Client Nectar, and she's worked with thousands of entrepreneurs to really help them learn how to grow highly profitable businesses. Her clients typically double and even treble their revenue in just a few months after applying her proven LinkedIn strategies and approaches. And as a coach herself, she has sold more than $1 million in sales of her programs in the past 5 years. And I think that she knows a thing or two or even more about lead generation, right? And she often describes herself as an accidental entrepreneur. Well, I think we're all in some way accidental entrepreneurs, right? And in her family, she was considered the academic one. And, she was headhunted in her early 20s to become a course director of a fashion marketing degree at a prestigious London university. And after 7 years and many 90-hour weeks, well, we all know these long weeks, right? She decided to really quit the rat race and really move to rural Ireland, where she set up her first business as a psychotherapist. However, within a few months only, she was really fully booked with clients already, where a lot of her colleagues struggled a lifetime with that, right? So, she had 2 private practice locations and a role as an on-site counselor for Blizzard Entertainment. Well, that's an incredible story in itself, Shelley. I know that. Well, it was really her overflowing practice that really helped her to harness her marketing skills and search engine optimization, optimizing her website and getting it to the first page of Google, which is again, we can probably bring you back again and again on all these kind of achievements, right? So, however, this has led you to be approached by hundreds of counselors and psychotherapists at a time, who then you help with their marketing, and as a result, you help them grow many therapist businesses across Ireland. And there's so much more to say about you, but I think we should cut a long story short and get you to the stage here. Well, Shelley, it's amazing to have you with us today. Shelley Hutchinson, please, everyone, give her a warm welcome. And Shelley, great to have you with us today. So let's tap into the LinkedIn magic and everything else that comes with it. Why don't you start taking the stage from our side?
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I am delighted to be here. I'm so excited to be here with all of you and such an amazing international audience. For me, when I say that LinkedIn is not just the best platform for business owners right now, but it is also a platform that I feel has saved my business and my life, because online marketing goes through trends, it goes through ups and downs. And so for 4 years, when I first started Client Nectar, I was based on Facebook and doing Facebook funnels and doing webinars and teaching my clients how to gain clients that way. And then I went through a big kind of dramatic experience where my Facebook funnel just broke overnight. The ads became very expensive, but also in the UK, we hit Brexit, and my typical audience at that time couldn't afford to work with me. And so I looked around and I tried to decide, okay, where do I go from here? What's the right platform? And I'm telling you this story because I was quite broken at that point. I'd gone from having a very successful business and being on track to make $500,000 that year to basically having a launch that made absolutely zero. So that really that experience made me reevaluate what was important. And I was looking for a solution that didn't require a lot of ad spend. I didn't have the money to put into it. So I needed something that didn't require a lot of ad spend, didn't require a lot of ads. Wasn't going to take me a long, complicated funnel to get set up. And when I looked at all the different options, LinkedIn was the only option that fit the bill. And one of the biggest reasons for me picking LinkedIn was because of the high caliber audience that's on LinkedIn. And I knew I was basically targeting that top 5% of coaches and consultants that would be able to afford to work with me. Because at that point in the UK, targeting any other part of the audience, they were not going to be able to afford to work with me. There'd just been that break in consumer confidence at that point. So that led me to teaching LinkedIn. And what I want to talk to you today about is how you can use LinkedIn to gain that credibility for your speaking gigs, for your speaking work as fast as possible. So I shared that story because it is really fast. I mean, literally, you can start working on LinkedIn, building relationships, building your audience, sharing content. And if you're for a business owner and if you're looking for clients, you can pick up clients in literally a matter of days. So it is an incredibly fast process. And there's no reason why it can't be applied to getting speaking gigs. It's a very similar process to what I would teach my business owner clients for you looking for speaking gigs, but there may be slightly different emphasis in terms of pieces of the strategy that you want to do more of than other pieces that's gonna work for you. So my plan for today is basically to run you through an entire process that will show you exactly what you need to do to be able to get speaking gigs through LinkedIn, and at least give you that starting place where you know how to use it to get going. That's my aim. How does that sound to you guys? I just want to check in if you want to pop into the chat, if that sounds like that's going to be helpful. Be really good to know. Fantastic. Brilliant. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. So I think the first thing to start with really is to start by making sure that you recognize your gifts. So that would be my starting point. Make sure that you recognize your gifts and you know the value of what you have to offer. Now, I'm sure that Monique is doing this work with you guys anyway, so you know what your gift is as a speaker, you know how you can shine with the audience, you know what you're here to say and to bring. But that is also really important for you to know to do, so that you can position yourself as that expert speaker on LinkedIn. So once you know what makes you special, once you know what makes you different as a speaker, once you have that written down, that information then needs to go onto your LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to just share my screen, and we'll just talk through the LinkedIn profile. Okay. So when I'm just going to, for the time being, if any of you have Sales Navigator, you have the paid version of LinkedIn, do let me know, but we'll kind of start out on the free version, just so that you can use this if you're not on the paid version. So just when you enter your LinkedIn, you'll go to your profile. I'm going to use my profile to show you. I'm not a speaker or promoting speaking, but I can show you what you need to do to promote your speaking work. Okay, so the first thing obviously is that you have this wonderful banner on LinkedIn, and they give you this horrible default blue banner, which you definitely want to get rid of, and you want to have your own banner graphically designed. Now, as a speaker, even though we're in a time where you're not necessarily able to actually get on a live stage right now, I still would use a picture of you on a live stage for your banner, because this is a great subtle way of communicating, here I'm a speaker. So even if you're not, even if you have a business as well that you run that is separate from your speaking work, I would still have the image of you as a speaker on the banner, because it will support your regular business as well as your speaking work. It will still position you, if people see you in that expert role as a speaker on a stage, that will still give you an extra expert status in people's eyes, that will make them more likely to want to work with you, or just contact you to discuss working with you when they see your profile. And as well as having an image of you as a speaker, it is useful to have just what I call a strap line, something that talks about the outcome that you help your clients with. So if this is, if you're full-time as a speaker, think about a strap line that best represents what you do. If you have another business and you do the speaking, you might even want to make a section to that banner where you have some bullet points of what you do, but also some contact details, so like your website, email address, just so that people can make that connection with you. Some of my clients even put their title onto their banner as well. So it's really branding yourself, essentially. That banner is your opportunity to brand yourself on LinkedIn. So I use it a bit like free retail space. So that's how you want to use that. Then in these two lines, which are under your name, they're called the headline, these two lines here. And this is the section where you want to put in about your speaking work. So again, two situations. If what you do is you are a speaker and that's your full-time work, then obviously you make it all about the speaking. Speaker, that would be the first line, and then say, where do you speak? What is the audience you typically speak to? What do you do that's different? What makes you different as a speaker? So use those two lines to show that, to showcase what you do. So international speaker, and then the types of events you do, and then what do you do? You motivational speaker, what type of thing do you do that you help the audience? If your speaking is part of your overall business, but not the whole aspect of what you do, then I would more likely veer to having about your kind of overall business first, and then having a line, and then having international speaker second. But it's up to you. You can choose which way around. My feeling is, however you're using LinkedIn, if you're using LinkedIn to get business for your business, then you want to focus on the first line being about what you do in your business, and then the speaking in second. If you're just using LinkedIn in order to get speaking gigs, I would put the speaking first and the business stuff second. Does that make sense? So it's however you're using LinkedIn to actually generate opportunities for yourself. That's what you put first in your headline. But this alone, just changing your headline and making sure you include about the speaking, that alone, that update can go to your LinkedIn connections and potentially could lead you to get an inquiry about, speaking opportunities. So that is an important change to make. And then the next section that a lot of people don't really fill out very well is the about section. And this is the place where you can really convey what makes you different, what makes you stand out. But it needs to also be about the people you're wanting to work with. It's got to have a connection to them and what they need and what they're struggling with. And so rather than it be just a full-on resume, I tend to move more towards a marketing style about section where I'm talking about my ideal clients and how I help them and what they're struggling with and how what I do helps them. So again, if you're speaking as part of a wider business, then I would focus on the wider business that you do, but have a good paragraph about your speaking work. I would also make sure that you have it in your, the first 2 lines that creates that sense of what your expert status is. I would make sure you include about your speaking in those first 2 lines alongside the other work you do, because we want people to see you in a certain light, and the fact that you are an international speaker that's going to really add to how people perceive you. So it's definitely important to put it in there. And then I would later on have a paragraph that's about the kind of, where you've spoken, what audiences you've spoken to, were you hired for anything prestigious, have you won any awards. I would include a good paragraph about that. If your focus is just speaking, that's what you do. If you're a professional speaker, then obviously the whole of your about section is about that. Okay. And always make sure that you have contact details, so it's really easy for people to connect with you. That's really important to include as part of your about section, how people can get in touch with you. What you're going to love is this featured section. So this is actually quite a new section that LinkedIn have added. And with the featured section, it's now become its own section. It used to be tagged onto the end of the about section, but now it's become its own area. And essentially you pull that up by clicking on the pencil on the side, and you can add links to this section. So I've probably added the maximum number of links. That's why I'm not getting the option to do that. But I would recommend that you make a short snapshot, 30 seconds, 60 seconds snapshot of you giving a speaking gig, you giving a speaking presentation. That definitely needs to be one of the elements that's featured in here, one of the videos. Obviously your speaking gig may well be much longer than just 2 minutes, but what we need here is that snapshot that's going to quickly grab the attention of the person that's coming to your profile, and it's going to make them go, she is really who she says she is, or he is who he says he is. That's what they're thinking at this stage. We want that reassurance. So seeing you actually delivering a very powerful line to an audience, if you pick out the most powerful section of the entire talk that you did, where there was a good audience reaction, you pick that as like a 2-minute section or a 60-second section. That's the clip you want to add here, and then make sure you highlight it with the right hook in terms of the title, what you call it, and to again give that hook, which is basically what is the thing that is going to compel other conference organizers to want to hire your services. So it's whatever that hook is. So maybe it's how the audience of, and then say the name of the conference, was brought to tears. Okay, that would be a good hook. Something that's about like a reaction, a really strong reaction that you had on the audience, a powerful reaction, but positive, a powerful positive reaction. And obviously there's a little bit of extra sort of description you can give, so then you can put in the details of where the conference was. And you could have more than one, because you can see there's multiple options here. I would also potentially use a video testimonial video as well from a particular event organizer that has hired your services. So, testimonials are very powerful, and I would make sure that there is a testimonial from a conference organizer or event organizer, where you gave a speech. Other little bits as well, if you do specific keynote speaking, or if there's a particular type of speaking that you tend to do, then you might want to put that into your headline and into the about section as well. Because maybe you're the sort of the person that does a lot of the master of ceremonies style. If there's something specific about how you do your speaking, definitely put that in as well. Okay. So the next section that is really useful to look at, I'm just seeing, gone past that, but yeah, okay, we'll come back to that later, is your work experience. You can, obviously the work experience section is usually used to include your past jobs, your past businesses, your present business. But I actually, with some clients, use the work experience section in a more dynamic way, and actually make entries for specific big opportunities they've had or big projects they've been involved in. So from my perspective, yes, you want to have a work experience entry for your speaking work as well as any other business that you have. But then I would also consider adding specific entries for, specific speaking, very large speaking opportunities you did that were really important. I would make entries for them, and you can either do that under your speaking, overarching speaking entry, and you can make sub entries, or you can just do separate entries. Obviously, we don't want to make your work experience too busy, but if there's something that was really powerful, then it's worth highlighting it. There is also an awards section on the profile, so I haven't got awards, so I haven't entered that, but there is a space to add awards. So, if you've been given any awards for your speaking, definitely include that. And of course, you can actually choose what is highlighted as your skills and endorsements. So you click on this little pencil on the right here, and you basically can move. So if you do that, you basically go over the 3 lines. You can actually move different skills up and down. So you want to have your top 3 highlighted that relate to what you're doing, and of course have one which relates to speaking, at least one relating to speaking in there. But know that you can move them around, and you can delete them as well. So if there's older skills on here that really aren't relevant to what you're doing now, you can delete them, and you can move them around. So like I showed you, you just literally can move them around. So that's important to keep this up to date as well. And if you haven't got enough endorsements for your speaking, then just send a round robin to all of your colleagues, friends, maybe everyone in Heart Powered Nation, and just say, hey, I really could do with some more endorsements on my speaking. Could you come onto my profile and just endorse me for my speaking skill? And just get everyone to endorse you, and then that way you'll get more endorsements for that, and then that's more credibility as well. And skills and endorsements are used a lot less than they used to be as part of LinkedIn profiles. That a few years ago it was a really, really popular sort of thing for people to do, endorse you. That was very popular. It isn't so much now, but I still just like to make sure that those top 3 that are showing really relate to what you're doing. So with the speaking, I would make sure it's up there. And then the last sort of section that's really key is the recommendations. So whenever you have done any speaking opportunities, definitely ask for a recommendation from the event organizer, the conference organizer, anyone that, people who are participants who might be important. Just don't be afraid to ask for recommendations. All you do is you just click on this box, you find the person that you want to ask, and you just follow the process. And I would give them specific questions to answer on this. So, give them questions about why did you decide to choose to work with me? Why did you decide to hire me for your conference? What was your experience of my speaking gig? How did it how did it support your aims with the conference? How did it help how did it impact your audience? Anything that's kind of positive that they can say about the experience. And then would you recommend me to other conference organizers who are looking for speakers? And why would you recommend me? So those are just a few questions. I have like a list of 20 questions that you can give people, but I kind of take those core 3 or 4 questions that just allow you to get the sort of, well, why did they come to you beforehand and hire you? What happened when you actually did the speaking gig? And would they recommend you to others, and why? So you're kind of covering all the bases with if you get those 3 core questions out of them. Because a lot of times otherwise, if you don't point them in the right direction, they're not going to give you the information that other people need when they see the testimonial. They need that information to get that sense of your credibility and to get that reassurance to hire you. Because what's happening when people come to this part of the profile is that they've gone, okay, so this person is a speaker, great, we see that here. They are able to do what we want them to do. That's great, we've got that from the about section. We've got a bit of reassurance that they have been on other stages similar to the ones that we are organizing, so it's brilliant. And then they come down to this point and they're going, how do we know that this person is telling the truth? That's essentially what people are thinking. How do we know that they're actually who they say they are? And when they read your recommendations, that's when they go, okay, so yeah, we can now make that decision to contact and have a chat with this person. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat because I can see quite a few questions coming up. Yeah, so okay, so Faye, I could hear that you couldn't hear me very well. Can you hear me okay now? Just to check that. Okay, brilliant, cool, that's great. Otherwise, I can always put on my lapel mic if you need me to. So it's not a problem. Okay, what's the difference between endorsements and recommendations? So endorsements, that's these sections with the skills section. You'll see here I've got 94 endorsements for coaching, 38 for marketing, 38 for social media marketing. Basically, this is people who have chosen to endorse me for that particular skill. And so that's what endorsements are. And recommendations, I think I give more weight to recommendations personally. I don't worry too much about my endorsements. I just make sure the top 3 are correct for what I'm doing. But recommendations, this is really important. I definitely would make sure that you get as many recommendations as possible for your work. So recommendations are when someone, basically decides to give you a recommendation, and you get notified when they write it, and then you can accept it and post it onto your LinkedIn profile. Yeah, I love it. That's great. You explained that really well. It's basically a checkbox for certain skill, whereas the recommendation is a proper testimonial. And this is really what's going to convince people more than the endorsement. It's not so important, the endorsements for you. Okay, great. I just want to see if anyone has any questions about that section before we go on to the next section.
Well, I don't have a question, but just to give everyone else an opportunity to ask a question.
Yeah.
I personally feel that it's actually great to pay attention to both. I mean, recommendation obviously is great because people write out what they love about working with you and the results they had. And as we know, when other people can actually say something about your amazing work, it's a greater marketing than when you actually get the message out yourself. So I would highly recommend for all of you to, to really even make it an exercise right here, right now. Think about who are the 1, 2, or 3 people that you can think of that you've been working with recently that you made a difference to, and reach out to them, ask them to actually fill you, a recommendation on LinkedIn. I personally also like the endorsements because, again, when you have 100 people, I think it's up to 100, and then it's saying 100 plus, right?
Yeah.
Hey, she's amazing about what
Right,
you do for. It definitely does raise credibility, right? So
absolutely.
yeah, so reach out to each other and support each other. So is there any questions from anyone? I didn't see any.
Yeah, so I can see a few coming up now.
Yeah.
So do I need a company LinkedIn site if I want my logo in my work experience section? Yes, that is absolutely right, you do. And I'm just going to show you how to get to that. So if you don't currently have a profile for your company, all you need to do, and I would get confused between these two. I think it's there. Let me move everything out the way. There we go. So yeah, it's just under the work icon with the down arrow. And basically, if you scroll down to the bottom, you see create a company page. You just click on that, and then it just guides you through and you set up your company page. If your company is quite a big, it's like a brand and you've got associates, not just you working in it, then I would post to the company page. But if actually really you're more of a solopreneur, then I have the company page. That's what I suggest. You have a company page so that you get the nice icon coming up next to the work experience entry. So here, but I wouldn't worry about posting to it. I would do your posting on your profile, because that's how you're going to connect with your ideal clients and with the speaker, with the event organizers and conference organizers. Okay,
there's a question on how to make a good opening banner. What kind of tool do you use to create it?
Yeah, so I mean, you can use Canva to create your LinkedIn banner. Personally, I use my graphic designer. He does banners for about £35. And I personally, in all honesty, just find it looks a lot better when I give it to him than when I try and do it myself. I have done it myself, but it's not as nice as when the graphic designer does it. And also, you really want your images, especially if it's an image of you on stage, you want it to stand out. You want the contrast to be right. So even if you use Fiverr or something like that to find someone to do it, it's worth it. Perfect. Okay, so if everyone's good, we'll go on to the next part of the process. So the next part of the process, after you've optimized your LinkedIn profile, just see, yeah, great, okay, is to start building your audience with those conference organizers that you're interested in, being on their stages. So what I would suggest, if you're on the free version of LinkedIn, is there's two different ways you can do it. So one is, if you know all the conferences that you want to speak at, or you know the events you want to speak at, obviously Google them, get the details of whoever the person is that is organizing the event, and then you can type in the person's name here into the search bar and click search, and it will bring them up. Or if you have their LinkedIn profile already, you can just pop that into the URL and pull it up that way. Once you go on to, say, the individual's profile, you can then click connect. So there'll be a connect button here. You can just click connect and then connect with them. I'm just keeping an eye on the questions. Okay. Okay, I will come back to some of those questions actually in a second, and just go through this piece for you guys, and then come back to those questions. So, so that's kind of really easy. So if you know the names of the people you want to connect with, you basically just find their profile and then you click connect. And usually there's connect button here. I've got a message there because I'm already connected to Laura. If you don't get connect there, then you can get the connect button will come up here and you request to connect with them. What I'm going to do is another way of searching. So if you don't know who the conference organizers are that you want to reach out to, so I'm using conference organizer. obviously they might come up under event organizer as well, but I was conscious if I put event organizer in, I was probably going to get wedding planners, and I was trying to avoid that. So I'm putting that in as a title and just doing a search, just clicking search. I'm looking for people who are conference organizers, and then just seeing what comes up basically. Okay, so you'll see we're starting to get sort of search results here. So 4,500 results. You can use the filters to narrow it down. So you might be interested in seeing who's connected to your connections. So I think if I just do second degree connections, it's going to be too small. So I'm going to click both of them. Maybe you might do a particular location. So I might do United Kingdom, for instance, and just apply and see what happens to the results. So now it's bringing up 1,800 results. And I usually try and get this number down to something that I can actually manageably kind of work through. So I will use these filters to narrow it down further. I might, put in, instead of doing United Kingdom, I might do London, so that it's, there we go, we've got 500 results. So it's going to be easier to go through and start connecting with them. And so basically what you do is you just, so here we're actually getting a lot of people who aren't really fully got their profile fully written up. But we're getting lots of conference organizers. You can then click onto their profile and, have a look. I mean, there's very little information on this person. Let's see if we can find someone where we're actually getting a bit more information about them. So this looks like that's actually a page as opposed to an individual. That's a bit better. We've got someone who actually has a photo up. That's better. I still don't have a lot of information, but you can go through to their profile and just see, are they actually the right person for you to connect with? And this is, this is going to be a little bit more of a process than if you know the conferences and you just directly connect with them. The conference organizers that you want to be part of, and directly connecting them, that's clearly a much more obvious process, because here we're just having to go through a lot to see, is this person right or not? So that would be, I suppose, my first approach would be to pick the conferences and the events that you want to speak at, find out the details of the people that you that are running them, and then connect with them on LinkedIn. The other thing that you might want to do is to actually look at your existing network as well. And you can see all your connections by just going to My Network and then going to Connections, and it'll bring up all your connections. And go through your existing connections and see who are you connected with that is connected to those individuals that you would like to have a warm introduction to. So you can also find that out by seeing who individual people have as their connections. So when you go onto a profile, you can literally go then to the connections, and then it will bring up, as long as they've made it public, it'll bring up all their connections. So you can then look through their connections and see, are they connected to someone that you would like to be connected with, that's a conference organizer or event organizer? And then you can ask that person that you're connected with for a warm introduction to them, so that rather than you introducing yourself cold to them, you then are using your network to give you a warm introduction. And that warm introduction doesn't have to take place on LinkedIn. It could be via email, so it could be a little bit more personal. But warm introductions work really well, because you're more likely then to have the person say, yes, let's have a chat. So they're actually going to develop that relationship, get to know you better. That's why, especially if you've got just a list of a few conferences you want to speak at, or a few events you really want to speak at, those warm introductions are going to be very helpful. So I'm just going to check in again and just see if you have any questions about that. Yeah,
there were a couple of questions coming back from Pierre, going back to testimonials, he wondered, how do I get testimonials on my page? Maybe you can show him how to ask for testimonials on LinkedIn.
Yeah. So essentially, if you are on your profile, you can basically just go to that section. If you haven't got any testimonials at all to start off with. If you haven't got any to start off with, then you go onto the person's profile that you want the testimonial from, and you can click on their profile and ask for recommendation that way. And then once they do one, then it will show up on your profile. If you have already got some recommendations, then you just go into your profile and you click ask for recommendation. You put in the name of the person you want a recommendation from. So I might one of my past clients, and then you put in the relationship. So Joanna was a client of mine, and my position. So this is my current position. And then you click next, and then you can get to put in all your questions that you would like them to answer with a short message, just saying, I'd be really grateful if you'd write me a recommendation. And then you just click send, and that's it. That's how you ask for a testimonial or recommendation on LinkedIn.
Right. And Mitun was asking, I know Mitun is working a lot with managers and executives from bigger organizations.
Yeah.
He's saying, how do you think about handling the cultural aspect of getting recommendations on LinkedIn? Some of these business leaders might be a little bit reluctant to give recommendations compared to others in the USA or
I get that. I think I know it's different in Holland to other places. People are more restrained around bragging around that side of things. They don't really like it. So I would always ask for the recommendation off LinkedIn first. So I would do it if there's a private conversation you're having with them, I would ask them at that point, like if it's on a phone call or a private conversation, and then get their agreement there before you then ask for the recommendation here. So they've already said, yes, I'm happy to give you a recommendation. The one way that I encourage people to do recommendations, and again, I'm just trying to think how this would work for I think it may work for organizations, executives and organizations. When they give you a recommendation, they are also getting free publicity. So by them giving you a recommendation, if other people who potentially could be good clients for them or good referral sources for them are seeing your profile, then if they've given you a recommendation, they're featured on your profile, and that could lead them then to get potential contracts or work. So if that is a possibility, that is also a way to encourage them to give a recommendation. Obviously, it's easier with business clients because business clients typically get that if they give a recommendation, it's free publicity for them. Whereas if it's someone in a big corporate organization, it's maybe not as necessary for them. I think it really, in that situation, more comes down to, did they find it valuable working with you? I have a client, and she's managed to get a lot of testimonials for her work. And yeah, she's had a lot of recommendations on LinkedIn for her work. So she hasn't struggled so much. She works with people in Europe, a lot of companies in Europe as well. But yeah, that would be how I would approach it, those two ways. Either seeing if there's an angle which they're going to get publicity from giving you the recommendation, or just really goodwill. If they really had a good positive experience with you, that's the other aspect to it. Usually people want to give a recommendation when they've had that really positive experience. Okay.
Right. Pierre was asking, it wasn't about how to get a recommendation, so we misunderstood his question. It was more about how to change. Did you change the order of the sections, Shelley?
No, I haven't. It usually just comes up in the same place each time.
Same for me.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, here's a great question from Danya. How to connect with event organizers the best on LinkedIn? Ask them for speaking opportunities. So you showed us a few things already.
Yeah.
We want to go deeper into this?
Yeah, so the messaging, that's kind of the next piece really is what do you say in messages? So I'm just going to come off share and just talk to you. So the messaging piece in terms of when you request that connection, you definitely want to put a little message in about why you're wanting to be connected with them. If you haven't got a potential warm introduction to them, I would actually be quite upfront about the objective of why you want to connect with them. And I would say, something like, dear, and then the name, I've been impressed, I've been so impressed by the work you have done on X conference, because clearly you have been, otherwise you wouldn't be reaching out to them. I'm an international speaker, and I'd be really interested in having a chat with, and you could say, I'd be really interested in having a chat with you about speaking opportunities at your conference. You're not going to get any more than that in that first message. That's one potential message you can do. The alternative is to leave the bit about asking them if they'd be open for a chat, leave that out, and just do the piece about, I'm really impressed by the work you've been doing with, X conference, and say, why you're impressed. You only have 300 characters, so you can't say a lot, just kind of keep it short. And then just say, say I'm an international speaker, and then just sign off. That's all you need to do to start that. You're basically requesting that they accept your connection request. That's all you're looking for from that first message. And so my take on this is about being really natural, be clear about your objective, and basically share what you have been inspired by. Because people like to, they like to be praised. And if it's honest and heartfelt, then and it's going to be, because you've probably been watching those conferences, you've been seeing what they're doing, and you've probably been enjoying it a lot and thinking, wow, that'd be a great platform for me. So just be honest. Customizing it is important when it's a conference organizer that, this is an opportunity you really, really want. If you have like your short list of conferences you want to speak at or events you want to speak at, you want to make sure that you customize every message to those individuals, because then you're really creating that deep relationship with them. When they come back, so when they accept your connection request, what might happen is one or two things. They will either reply to your first message and say something like, it's great to connect with you, I'd love to hear more about your work as an international speaker, or they'll say, thank you so much for your kind comments. If they come back with that message, then this is an opportunity for you to start a conversation and take that conversation further. And so then your next message, I would say a little bit more about your international speaking work, and maybe even send them a clip, or a link to a video where they can see an example of your speaking work, and then, and even ask them, would you be available for a quick chat to find out more about the next conference that you're organizing? So what you're not trying to do here is sell you to be a speaker at the next event. Okay, what we want to do is sell you to have a call with them to discuss their next event, and that's a really important sort of distinction I'm making here. And the problem when people come in and they immediately at that stage say, hey, hire me as a speaker for your conference, it puts the person receiving the message on the back foot. It makes them think, oh, I'm not sure I even know them, I'm not sure I'm ready for that, and so it kind of stops the conversation. If you just basically sell having a quick chat about their upcoming conference, there's no threat to them. There's no pressure to them. They're not thinking, oh, I've got to make a decision as to whether I want to hire this person or not. What you're giving them is the opportunity to go, do I want to have a 10-minute chat? That's what you're giving them. And so then if they come back and they say, yes, we'd be open to that, you can fix up a date and time. And then you get to, on that call, find out more about, have they got the lineup yet? Are they interested in, a speaker who speak on the kind of areas that you speak on? And if they're, you've then got that whole process of maybe they're already fixed for the next one, but you can get into their lineup for the one for the year after. So it's really building that relationship. That's how I would see it. There are lots of different ways of starting conversations, but I feel for what you're doing here with this piece, I would focus on what I've told you and what I've said just there, because it's keeping it quite contained, and will give you that that sort of outcome, ultimate outcome that you're looking for, which is that you're building that relationship with that conference organizer, and you're then on their list for potentially being hired. That's the important piece. And of course, you know, once you've had that first phone call, you've got that breakthrough already with them, which is important.
Yeah, I hope, Danya, that answers your question. Yes, thumbs up. Yeah, good, perfect. Shelley, I think we should still also go into a little bit the juicy part of how do we start getting event organizers come to us?
Yes, that is the next
looking at time, and I know we could spend hours together, but I really want, you know, that's probably something a lot of people are interested in. How do I actually trigger interest on LinkedIn to get people come to us?
This is the inbound leads, and this is very, very important for you guys as speakers. I would say that the content, posting content on LinkedIn regularly, as well as building your audience full of conference organizers, as well as doing that, you're going to want to post content regularly about your speaking work. Now, obviously, if you're trying to get business clients through it, you can do business as well. But if you really want the speaking gigs, and you've got those conference organizers now into your audience, so they're seeing your posts, now you want to start posting regularly about. So I have a few kind of different recommendations on this. Whenever you do any speaking opportunity, whether it's live or on a podcast at the moment or online, make sure you get the recording from every single speaking opportunity you do, and have a video editor ready to take take small 30-second, 60-second, 90-second sections of like key moments in your speaking, you know, in that speaking opportunity, and get them to do a number of them from each speaking gig you do, so that you end up with these great short clips. I mean, have any of you seen Gary Vaynerchuk? You watch the way he does his content, he's really good at this, because this is about you becoming an influencer, you getting a big following. So you want these really good sort of short clips of your speaking engagement, 60 seconds, 30 seconds, that is brilliant. You know, get the editing done so that you have the banner above and below with the text that just highlights that key point that you kind of drive across in that speaking gig you do. It's really, that's that hook. It's the reason why people are going to want to watch that clip of you speaking. So you need to have that hook put onto the top banner so it grabs people's attention. Also, make sure there are captions on your video, so if people haven't turned the sound on LinkedIn, they can still hear what you're saying or see what you're saying. And on LinkedIn, you know, people are scrolling their feeds, so we do want to keep it down, ideally 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds. That's kind of your three kind of timings really. I would really want to see you posting videos of your speaking as frequently as possible. I usually start my clients off at 3 days a week posting, but you know, if you can do every day or at least 5 days a week, that's really important. Video is really essential right now. So you know, those clips of you actually speaking, whether it's on a podcast or live, or you know, that is going to be gold for you. So video gets huge engagement and tons of views. Put some text in with your video, so don't just rely on the video. Put a nice good amount of text at the top rather than just a couple of lines. If you have a bit more text, LinkedIn's algorithms like that. They like a little bit more text. So if there's a key point from that talk that's highlighted in the video, put that in the text above it, and make it engage your audience as well. Those are kind of key things. Make sure you include hashtags. So you want a hashtag that is around your work, you know, so speaker, hashtag international speaker. You need a hashtag related to the content in the actual video and the content in the text. So maybe 2 hashtags around that. Is any hashtag that's really going to, that you want to trend under, that you want them to come up under, and you know, if you're trending then anyone who has followed that hashtag will get notified about your particular piece of content. So that's going to boost engagement. Another piece to get more engagement is have like a group of you who all post on each other's posts. And the most important thing is the first hour after you post your video or your post. You need people to be liking, commenting, and sharing in that first hour. And that's when the LinkedIn algorithm is looking at how many people have liked, commented, and shared in the first hour. And then it decides how many more people to show your post to. So the more people you get liking, commenting, and sharing in that first hour, the more views you're going to get on your post. So I would definitely have a group of you that when you're posting something really important, a new clip, make sure that people know and they're ready to go to post on it in that first hour, because that's going to really help with the engagement. If you're on your way, I mean, obviously at the moment we're not on our way to events right now, but if you're in the car on the way to an event, or you're about to get a plane to an event, a text post with an image of you about to get on the plane, saying where you're going, you're going to be speaking at this conference, really excited, tag the organizers in. That's also really important piece of content to do, because again, it's showing other conference organizers and other people of what you're doing and where you're going. Even if that's not the clip from the actual conference, that's as valuable. Make sure you do tag in all the organizers, give thanks to the organizers as well. Thank you content works really well. Tagging is important because you want more people to then engage on your post. So you tag relevant people who are part of that conference. Other speakers in the lineup, you can tag all of them as well. So, again, that is going to lead more people to engage with your post, especially after the event, because if people have really enjoyed it and some of the participants, you're going to get more eyeballs onto your content. They're going to want to post and say, wow, it was such a great experience, your talk was amazing. And again, that's going to help your credibility. So I think in 10 minutes, I think we've pretty much covered the content side. That's pretty much everything I wanted to focus on, really. I think that's given you the whole process from beginning to end.
I know, and it probably takes a year to master it all and to get it ready, right? And longer. But I think that's the beautiful thing, Shelley, is, I mean, you and I know that on LinkedIn, when you just start doing certain things, you get results pretty fast, which is really cool. I would like to, first of all, thank you already up front, and we're going to thank you big time again, Shelley, for all these golden nuggets you shared with us. There's still a couple of questions. So Devapriya, for example, is asking, what should be the tone of the post, as the LinkedIn algorithm doesn't prefer direct salesy posts? So maybe we can go into that. Before we go into that, I think we have time for another 1 or 2 questions. So any one of you that would still like to ask something, best put it into the chat right away so that we can answer them within the time that we have. Okay, do you want to say something about the tone of the post, Shelley?
Yeah, so okay, so yeah, you don't want to sell from your content. So you never want to directly sell a product or a service or anything from your content. What you want to do is give value. So all the time when you're creating content, it's about thinking about who are your audience, what is going to be really valuable to them, what are they most struggling with, what's the biggest headache. So you could, as a piece of content, you could think about conference organizers. What is the biggest headache for conference organizers when it comes to speakers? Probably like speakers not turning up, being late, anything that disrupts the flow of their conference in some way. So that could be, if you have some valuable insight into how conference organizers can get over that problem, or maybe another problem is finding the right speakers for their event. If you have valuable insight into that, then that's a great piece of content to write about. Even if you think to yourself, well, I'm not a conference organizer, but if your audience of conference organizers is thinking about, well, what's the biggest headache for them and how can I help them solve that? And so even if you're not directly selling your speaking services through that post, the conference organizer will read it and it could get them thinking, oh wow, this person's great, this is really valuable information. And then that might start a dialogue, that might start a conversation. So you're constantly thinking, how can I help my audience through my posts? and you're not directly selling your services, but when you share about your speaking gigs, when you share clips from your speaking gigs, that's your free sales pitch. That's the subtle sales pitch going on. So you are selling, but in a very beautiful, subtle way, which is positioning you as an expert.
Right. I mean, giving value is always the best, addressing, as you said, their greatest needs and really giving hints and tips. And again, it doesn't need to be long. Yeah.
It can be short, can even be just text sometimes. I just do text posts sometimes. If you don't have a lot of time, something, very short text post is absolutely fine.
So Minko is asking, how do you put text on videos? What app are you using? I don't know if you're using ref.com or another one.
I use ref.com for adding captions and subtitles. There are other apps if you want to add the banner text. I have to say, I used to edit videos and I was really bad at it. So I actually now use video editors to look after that for me. But there are some apps if you want to do it yourself. And I have a very good friend, Cynthia Balula, who trains people, and she does a 5-day challenge around this. So I'm sure we can share her details if anyone would like them.
Okay, so we have another one from Sandrine, and she's already looking into this. She's saying, is it true that you need to avoid having links to external sites in your posts?
Yes.
It's better to add links and comments. So the answer is yes. And what's the longer answer to that?
Yes, Sandrine, you're in the advanced LinkedIn at the moment. That's really good. You don't want to put any links into your text posts on LinkedIn that are taking people off LinkedIn, because they'll penalize you on that. What you can do, obviously, is write into the text post that the link is in the comments, put it in the comments, and then once you're past the first couple of hours and you're seeing those kind of good views coming up on that post, then you can go back and re-edit it and put the text link or the link back into the text, and do it that way. So that's a little workaround. I tend to give it a good while though before I then edit it and put it in, just in case. We don't want to stop your audience getting to see it. Also, just on that one, when you get people posting or comments onto your posts and their second or third degree connections, which will happen once you start getting a bit of extra views on your posts, link up with them. So don't just have a nice comment with them on your post, but actually go get in touch with them and connect with them on LinkedIn and just start a dialogue. Say, it was great to see you post on my post. Really good. Thank you so much for your feedback and your comment. And then you can start a conversation, because that could potentially be a referral source as well. So yeah.
Right. So there's a last one from Minku. How do you attach articles like PDFs that are your own?
Yeah, so you can just do that directly in the post section. It has a section where it has little icons at the bottom, which says either image or video or attachment. So you can then just add it by clicking on that icon and then automatically add it. My sort of perspective though on this, Minko, is that I would use the post to ask people if they would like to have the PDF, and say comment yes in the comments if they would like it, because you want that engagement. And so if they comment with yes, then you email them with your PDF.
I love that. It's so important. Engagement is everything on social media, especially, right? So again, you don't want, also, whatever you share is precious, is valuable, right? Honor your content. So don't just get it out there to everyone. And, again, I don't know what you have in the PDF. What you could also do is, just take whatever you have in the PDF and again, turn that into some smaller sub posts to trigger more interest. And then follow Shelley's brilliant suggestion to say, hey, if you like to have the whole document or the whole overview or the whole method or whatever you cover in that PDF, just connect with me or let me know you want it, right? So again, you can write it into many different posts right away already, right?
Absolutely.
Amazing. I love everything, Shelley, and you and I, we could speak for hours and hours, which
I
sometimes
know
we
we
do,
could.
right? And
Yeah.
also for everyone, just a quick hint here. We have Shelley coming up as well. We interviewed her, so also in the Heart Powered Global Nation community on Facebook, we're gonna post her interview on Thursday, so you're gonna get a couple of additional hints and tips. So it's Shelley week, right? And it's not only Shelley Week, it's actually much more than Shelley Week. And so I know that a lot of you want to do more and become more active on LinkedIn. So I know you have something coming up where people can actively actually take action on implementing a lot of the things we spoke about here today. Shelley, do you want to say something about your incredible 5-day LinkedIn challenge? And while you do that, I pull out the link and share it with everyone here. So
That
that
would be
all of you
fabulous. That'd be fabulous. So I have coming up a 5-day LinkedIn Leads on Tap challenge. This challenge is designed to take you through a lot of these steps that we talked through today, but through one small task a day. And myself and my team are going to be there every step of the way as you go through the challenge. And we're going to support you with knowing, first of all, how to optimize your profile, how to reach your audience, how to message them and create that connection with them, how to create content that is going to get you tons of inbound leads. And also I'm going to give you some behind the scenes of what's worked for me and what hasn't worked around engagement, and some extra tips that have led me to develop and I would say I've sold over 200,000 in programs in the last year through LinkedIn. I'm going to give you those behind the scenes of how that works. In addition to that, the thing about the challenge is this is like being on a mini course. So essentially, at the end of the 5 days, you will be in a place where you will be able to generate leads with the audience that you really want. So you're going to actually have the strategy that will lead you to have as many leads whenever you want with your ideal clients. So it's not just a sort of automated challenge. This is a live challenge, and we will actively move forward through the 5 days. So I'm super excited about it. There's going to be 3,000 people on the challenge. That's why I've got my whole team involved. We've been having meetings for the last month. We're really set up and really excited, and so we are going to be giving you support. Every post that you do, every comment you do is going to get answered, and we really want to, given everything that people have been through during this time with COVID, we really want to help business owners and entrepreneurs to move forward, so that you've got an active approach and strategy that you can use that's risk-free. There's no cost to it. I mean, that's what's so lovely about what I showed you to do. If there's no cost, there's no ads, there's no risk, there's no complicated tech. It's literally relationship building, and it just takes a little bit of your time and only about 15 minutes a day. So
right. I love it, and I know it's pure gold. Faye's asking, when does it start? When does the challenge start?
yeah, so we start on Monday, the 6th of July, but everyone needs to sign up before the Friday, because we will be kind of bringing the group together and doing a whole lot of stuff in the Facebook group, in the private Facebook group, and then getting you all set, because we will be going live twice a day on the Monday to Friday. So we're going to have lives with you, and you're going to be able to ask questions. And yeah, it's going to be a very pleasant, full-on experience for everyone, and a powerful transformative experience. So I'm so pleased that so many of you have signed up already. That's brilliant.
I love that. And there's no one better to ask about LinkedIn. And there's of course, other experts, but Shelley is definitely one of the UK's leading experts on digital marketing and LinkedIn. So it's a great opportunity, and it was a great opportunity to have you with us today. And just a quick announcement on my side as well, if you don't mind, and again, the link with Shelley is in the chat, so everyone that's still sitting on the fence, grab the opportunity if you really want to turn your learning today into doing. And I know that, Shelley, a lot of people are actually struggling with saying, what do I put onto my LinkedIn profile? What do I say? What am I about? What problems do I solve? And, I'm just going to share with you a quick, also additional webinar link here in the chat, all of you. It's about pitching. It's about what do I say and how do I say things to really trigger interest. And I think, again, this is on the 29th of June, so I think it's perfect. Every one of you that wants to be part of that webinar,
join us on that. It's just a simple, a 1-hour webinar where we start giving you the secret pitching formula so you know what to say and how to say things. So when you then join Shelley's challenge, you're already ahead of the game because you already know some of the things that make you unique in your business. So I just shared that link here as well. And again, Shelley, just thank you for being with us today. Thank you for taking the time. I know how busy you are, and I know how you're an online jet setter at the moment in so many ways.
Yeah, I live through the seminar basically.
And do you want to just round it off with one inspirational message around LinkedIn so that we can round off this call in a powerful way?
Yeah. What I would say is that the opportunities that LinkedIn can bring to you right now, you probably can't see them, but the opportunities that my clients have had through only doing LinkedIn and following my strategies for like literally a few weeks, the opportunities that have come to them, not just in terms of money, but also speaking opportunities when they haven't even got themselves down as a speaker, have been incredible. And you never know who is looking at your profile just from the small changes you make, who's looking at your content. There's a lot of lurkers out there. So go ahead, give it a go, because actually the results will completely blow you away. Honestly, it's so worth it.
Perfect. Love it. And again, I know it because I've been on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is actually my biggest online network, and a lot has come from it over the years. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Shelley, today. And can't wait. We will all learn on your challenge. We never stop learning, right?
Absolutely.
And so I'm honoring each and every one of you as well that was here with us today. Right, all of you, each and every one, Danya, Denise, Priya, Diana, Faye, Florence, and Josh, Marcus, Minku, Mitun, Natalie, and Oliver, Roger, Sandrine. It was great to have you, each and every one of you, because I know that each and every one of you is creating magic. You have so much knowledge, so much wisdom. I think it's time for you to shine and sparkle in a greater way. And we're always liking to invite to amazing leaders like Shelley to give you these instruments, methods, tools, everything else you need to step up in greater ways. So thank you for investing your time. And I love how Shelley, we've been showered with appreciation here as well, right? So people say they feel loved, they feel like thank you so much, great session. I feel spoiled and loved, well said. So thank you for being with us, Shelley, and thank you all for investing the time to step up with the impact you're making.
And thank you to all of you for being here. I really appreciate it. It's just so great to have this opportunity to share this with you, share my passion for LinkedIn, and hopefully inspire you to be passionate about it as well.
Right. Okay, so thank you everyone, and again, next month we're going to have another guest, and in the meantime, just on the My Speaker Business community, and even more so on the Heart Powered Global Nation, share with us, what have you learned today? What are you doing with it? How are you applying it? What are you learning along the way? We always love to hear from you, because every one of your messages makes you sparkle and is an inspiration to someone else. Okay, so we'd love to hear after this session what was valuable for you there. So share with us on the Heart Powered Global Nation. And Shelley, you are a member. You're one of our first members even. So looking forward to connect with all of you there. Have a fabulous day and week and month, and keep doing magic on LinkedIn and beyond. All the best, everyone. Bye.